Alright, so right when I was about to shoot this video, I noticed out of the corner of my eye there was something out there. And as you can see, I'm going to take the camera over, and it's actually a dog. It's not mine. I don't know whose it is, but it was just kind of funny that that it came around right when I was shooting this video. I was pretty surprised, but anyways, I've seen it around every once in a while, but not too often. So, alright, let's get started. So basically, this is the deer hide I did last year. It's been set out for about a year now. I got plenty of time to use it to do other stuff. I still see the dog. He's sitting over there. I kept my attention most of the time, but anyways, you can see it turned out nice. There's the fur on that side. No real problems with it coming out at all. You'll notice that the sides are kind of rough looking. Remember, this has been on the back seat for a year now. It's had people sitting all over it, so it's had some wear and tear. But anyways, there's the back of it, and as you can see, it's nice. It could be nicer if you did it better than I did. I was rushing to get it done for Christmas for my dad, so it's not the greatest shape ever. But as you can see, it turned out real nice, and I'll show you here in the next portion where we went from there to make it look this nice. All right, so as you can see, the dog's gone. I don't know where he went, but so the first step after you're done setting it out for a couple days, you're gonna go out and you're gonna dry it. Okay, you're gonna let it sit for maybe 3 or 4 days. 5, I think, is what I did for this one. So it's still a little wet, but not entirely soaked. Then you're gonna take it out there, like what I'm doing, to the edge of that post on our porch, and you're just gonna work it back and forth. This is just an easy way of spreading the fibers in the back. To make it, a little smoother so that it's not really, really coarse. It's much more pliable that way. And as you can see, the video stops there. I don't know what happened, but anyways, the rest of this will just be pictures and me talking. But once you're done rubbing it on the sides, what you're going to do is you're going to set it down, okay? And make sure there's no water down there or dirt or anything, because you don't want to get it dirty. But you're going to, once it's done drying, after you're done rubbing it, you want to let it dry for a little bit longer. This time it'll be completely dry. So you're going to do the rubbing process up against the post after 5 days of having it out of the solution. And then you're going to let it sit. And you might have to let it sit for a week. You might have to let it sit for, I don't know, 5 days again. I believe I let this one set for 5 days to finish drying after I was done stretching it. But needless to say, after all that, your final step is going to be to set it down somewhere where there isn't dirt, like I said before, and you're going to take sandpaper. It can be fine sandpaper, it can be coarse. I prefer the coarse sandpaper, and then polishing it off with the fine later. And you're just going to sand the back of that. Now, what does sanding do? It's really not necessary. It has nothing to do with the tanning process or the preserving process. But when you do that, it's going to make it smoother, and it's actually going to make it a little more pliable. One of the other ones I did, the deer that actually I shot, I did not use sandpaper, and it actually was way harder. It wasn't pliable at all. It just sort of bent everywhere, and it was a real pain. So I really, really highly recommend that you sand that down. And of course, you don't want to sand it to the point where the skin's so thin that it's just going to fall apart. I just mean sanding it to the point where it's soft to the touch, and it's going to be fine for placing around. And you can do anything with these, really. I mean, I wouldn't recommend getting them wet again. I'm not sure if that'll hurt it or not, because I've never done that to mine. But you can use it for like a decoration over a chair. I did have mine in my room on the floor, but it just I didn't want it to get filthy there. So I just keep it on the back of the seat because they've held up real well there. And as for fur coming out and everything, you're really not going to have to worry about that. Because the alum and the salt does a really good job of preserving the hide, but also keeping the hair intact. Alright, so basically just to go over what we went over again, you can skip this part if you have the gist, but to go over it again, you're going to let it sit for 5 days once you get it out of that nasty solution, the alum and salt solution, and you're going to let it sit for 5 days, then you're going to take that outside, and you're going to pull it, or like I like to use the post, just rub it up against the post there until you'll notice the fibers that are in the actual hide itself go from a grayish color to a whitish color. Alright, so you'll do that, and then Your final step is optional, but it's preferred. You'll just sand it down with some sandpaper. All right? And then you will have an absolutely beautiful hide with the fur on for ridiculously cheap. I think in total this probably cost me maybe $3, because the bulk stores alum was really cheap, and the salt obviously was cheap, and water that's pretty cheap. So it's much cheaper than taking it somewhere, and you can do whatever you want with it. You can cut it into a perfect rectangle or whatever you want. I just like that natural look on it. So, all right, guys, thanks very much. You all take care, and if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks.